Three cheers for Suella, the Home Secretary who's had the courage to tell it as it is, revealing what we all know really, that the asylum and immigration system is broken beyond repair. And she's gone to Washington to tell it as it is because it's an international problem, as they well know in the United States. Donald Trump was putting up a wall to stop the floods of migrants coming in from Mexico. Joe Biden put a stop to all that, and the situation there has become catastrophic. But what of Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary? What's she saying? She's effectively saying the 1951 United Nations Convention on Refugees is broken. It's not fit for purpose. Of course it isn't. It's 70 years old. And when it was drawn up, it was in the immediate aftermath of the Second World War, the terrible situation, the Holocaust, 6 million Jews put to death, the huge migration around Europe after the Soviet Union expanded its evil empire. But what the convention said then was it was designed to protect people who had a genuine risk and fear of persecution. What Suella Braverman made absolutely clear in her speech today, and she's spot on, it's no longer about persecution, it's about a perception people may be discriminated against. That's a big difference. As she said, it's no longer good enough to say, I'm gay, therefore I must be entitled to asylum in Great Britain. What, every single gay man and woman in Africa and Europe can come here because they're gay? Think about the Commonwealth, much loved by our beloved Queen Elizabeth II, who was head of the Commonwealth. She adored it. King Charles is now the head of the Commonwealth. In at least 20 countries in the Commonwealth, it is a criminal offence to be homosexual. Right, so are they all coming here too because they're asylum seekers and deserve refugee status? Of course not. I'm gay, I can say it. It is ridiculous. We do not need extra protection because we're gay. Perhaps in Iran, where they tend to throw people like me off roofs, but I don't think actually there are that many people coming from Iran who are complaining about their sexuality. But what we do know is many of those young men crossing the channel, and she says none of them are refugees because they're coming from safe countries like France and Italy. We know that quite a few of those young men in their 30s, economic migrants, in my view, are claiming, I'm gay, therefore they're entitled to stay in Britain. And the stupid old asylums law in this country allows it. She has to be allowed to make her case. Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, appears to be finally realising the Tories are in danger of going down to a catastrophic election defeat. The last few weeks we've had some serious Tory policy initiatives. This is a very serious one, and it was signed off in number 10. So for once, the Home Secretary is singing from the same hymn sheet as the Prime Minister. And here's the other thing. She's singing from the same hymn sheet as the majority of the country. I can tell you the emails and letters I get every day from Daily Mail readers, Mail Plus readers, who are appalled by what's happening across the English Channel every single day. And when Rishi says, oh, the numbers have gone down a bit this year, it's nothing to do with government policy. It's all to do with wind. And we all know politicians have far too much of that. And while we're talking about politicians, Labour have, of course, attacked it. So have the human rights lobby, who do very well out of asylum claims. So have the charities. So have the NGOs. But let's go back to Labour. They are stinking, rotten hypocrites, because it was Tony Blair's government which, after all, opened the floodgates to all those migrants coming in from Eastern Europe in the 1990s, when he was told by the Tories to adopt the same policy in the rest of Europe to have interim limits. He said no, there'd be no need for those. In the first year, 750,000 people flooded in. But what of that convention, the United Nations Convention on Refugees? There was a Home Secretary who thought it needed reforming. He said it badly needed rewriting, and I'm going to quote you what he said. He said, it is unacceptable to expect taxpayers to bear for a prolonged period the cost of supporting asylum applicants who don't qualify for refugee status. That Home Secretary said asylum applicants had to remain outside of Britain while their applications were processed. That's the reverse of what Labour want. They want them to be able to process them here. And who was that Home Secretary? Why, he was Jack Straw, Labour's first Home Secretary in Tony Blair's government. So they knew back in 2000 the United Nations Refugee Convention was broken and wasn't working. Well, if it wasn't working then, it's 10 times, in fact, 100 times worse now. So why are Labour attacking the Home Secretary for saying what we all know. It's busted and needs urgently fixing. So keep up the good work, Suella Braverman, Home Secretary. Even if the Tories lose the next general election, this will be very popular with the voters and may just limit the scale of the defeat. What do you think? Contentious issue, isn't it? But I think most of you are going to be with me and most of you are going to be with the Home Secretary. Let me know, give me your comments, tell me your reaction.